You're muted again.
Hello.
Every damn show, you're muted at the start. Every time. Man, I forgot how damn good that song is. We haven't heard it in so long. I just want to say, I know I look different.
Say it.
I know I look different. I'm just going to say it at the start of the show. Last week was Jason's birthday show, right?
Be positive about it.
Last week was Jason's birthday show. And he became only 1 year younger than me. And he was so jealous. I said, hey, can you just give me a little haircut? Because summer's coming. I want to, not have to be so hot. And he was jealous that he was only 1 year younger than me. He decided to make me look like he was 100 years younger than me. Thank you. Thank you for that. So now all my recededness is in full force. I went on roller coasters yesterday, sat in the sun.
Did you get burned on top?
I had to put sunscreen lotion on the top of my head. Even though, there's hair there. It's light and thin. So now I look older than crap, and it's all your fault. Because you, Mr. Chia Pet Head, who, has no hair on his leg. I've never seen a guy who has no hair on his legs, but perfect hair on his head. Makes no damn sense. That's you. Then there's me, who has hairy freaking legs, except for one tiny spot for some reason on my knee. I have no hair. I don't know why. And then my head, I got Dad's receding hairline going on. Now, Dad's 76 years old, and he still has a whole bunch of hair. So I have that going for me. The problem is our hair is it's weird. When you see my hair grow, it looks like it's dark brown almost. But it's really like when you pluck a hair out, it's like blonde. It makes no sense. So because of that, when you cut it so short, it looks like I'm bald. Even though I'm not, there's hair there. But because it's so thin hair and not like Chia Pet like you or what, like a Monchichi. Remember the Monchichi toys when we were kids? Those monkey-looking things? I think our sister had some. It was just like a giant fuzzy head of Monchichi hair. That's
Not many people remember those, but yeah.
Well, they weren't very popular, I don't think. I think there's only, our mom and dad. Our mom was one where when she grew up, she didn't have that many toys, and she was hell bent that if my kids want toys, they're gonna get them. And man, we had a lot of toys, and I thank you for that, Mom, because it was awesome. Of course, now I grow up and I buy a bunch of toys for my kids they never even wanted. Plus, I used to work at Toys R Us. So that was bad too. Plus, I want to buy toys for myself. Hell, I'd buy toys for myself. I don't care. Anyways, so.
Hopefully Lee's entertained by this.
Long story short, put Dad's comment up. That's what put that up so everybody can see. Ben, you should have waited for your dad. That's right. My dad normally cuts my hair. If you go back like 4 years ago, or 3, whatever year it was, 2020, in the COVID years, we talked about, there's a show where I talked about my hair. And how I hadn't got a haircut in forever, and I looked really scary looking. And the reason why was because I can't get my haircut from anybody but Dad, because he gets all sad and cries, or whatever it is. And now I've made a mistake, all because I just wanted, because I knew the hot was coming, and I didn't want to wait until the middle of August because already next week it's going to be in the 90s in town here. So I'm like, just go, cut it short, and you did too much. You did too much. And then the best part is this. When he cuts my hair, he says, I'm like, I can't see it. I'm like, well, what do you think? And he's like, well, the back looks good. That's what he said. That's what this asshole, Mr. Perfect Hairdo, no matter what he does to his hair, he looks perfect, guy said to me. After he's the one who did it. And he's like, he's like, I do a 1 on the side and a 2 on the top. And I'm like, dude, my hair isn't like yours. Give me at least a 3 or 4, a 4 on top. And a 2 on the side, and you're like, oh, I'll do like a 3, and like, oh, well. Then after he's done, oh, maybe I should have went so far down there. Yeah, maybe, jerk. Anyways, okay, we're done.
It's hair, it'll grow back. Oh,
it might. I don't know. Look at Matt Hasselbeck. He shaved his hair that one time, shaved his head, and it never came back. He was like 35, bald guy playing quarterback. Remember?
Wow. I was, when I pulled up. As you were talking there, I was wondering what Brian Gutekunst would look if he shaved his head. He's got some nice hair there, nice head of hair too, doesn't he? Up there?
No, he's got thin too. He'd look like
me.
He? If somebody gave him a buzz cut, it would look a lot like. Well, it's not as. He doesn't have the this way the heck back here like this.
He's got a little bit though, but yeah. All right. Well, that's a thing. Maybe that's a Goody thing to get the.
But see how his hair looks like it's dark brown on the sides, but then all of a sudden when the light hits it, then it's light. That's like me. It looks dark brown, but it's really thin and it's light. When you pluck it out, it's light.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Good.
Whatever. Over with.
It's a good way to start off our new attempt at a positive show. Maybe we didn't quite get there yet, but we'll get there. Okay, so yes, that did happen. Ben looks different, and I did what he asked me to do, but then apparently I got a little too short, and I didn't realize. And
yeah, you didn't realize.
I did. I thought. Look, all I know is when you leave it too long up there, it just looks dumb. So you got to go a little shorter.
Well, otherwise, if you leave it too short, it looks dumb too. Heads up.
I didn't think I did point this out. When you look at you straight on, you look all right. Or if you look at you like you're a little shorter than you look straight on, you look all right. It's just when you're looking the top down view, if someone's a lot taller than you, like George Mirzon would think you look dumb.
Yeah, well, I came home and my daughter cried and hid her head under a blanket. I was so hideous, she couldn't even look at me. I went to work the next day and people didn't recognize, they didn't know who I was. One girl said, one lady said, "Oh, I mean, it looks nice. It's cute." And I'm like, "No, it's not. Don't lie to me. Now you're just being mean by just trying to be nice. It's worse. Just be honest." And she's like, "Well, it's a little short." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's a lot of short. But I'm okay with it because who do I get to impress? Nobody." I can't remember Dad's quote. I don't remember exactly what it was. Right. We always make fun of him because his hair, he had the dog flaps and all that.
Yep.
And do you remember what his quote was?
Not really.
It had something to do with the beauty pageant. He's like, "Well, I'm not going to be in a beauty pageant." I can't remember exactly what he said. It sounded a lot better when Dad said it. Dad, do you remember what he used to say? Or Mom, do you remember what Dad used to say?
Yeah.
It was something about, "Oh, I didn't know I was in a beauty pageant tomorrow," or some crap like that. Because Dad didn't give a crap. And now I know. When he was, I'm 49 almost, a month and a half away.
Ooh.
Or 2 months. And I know what it's like. I don't give a crap either. So who gives a crap? I don't. Also, real quick, if you ever want to go on a crazy fast wooden roller coaster, I can't believe I've been living here for 16 years, only an hour away. Go to Valley Fair if you want and ride the Renegade. That sucker is crazy fast. Well, it's like, it just feels like you're out of control. Like the whole thing's out of control. Like you're going to just die. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Sounds great.
It was great. We went on it 3 times, me and the kids. And there's no, usually there's something, a handlebar to hang on to or something. No. Just a lap bar.
Oh,
so if that goes, you're dead. You're flying out of that sucker. It was awesome. It was fast. There's crap. And we rode in the front, me and Livs. And then rode in the back. The front's better. But yeah, it was awesome. And then we did a whole bunch of other water rides and stuff, whatever. Well, then I got soaked. You know that one stupid one at Great America, Gertie, Illinois? They have the same type of thing where everybody sits on that big boat where there's 5 in a row and you just go up and around and come down and then it just splashes everywhere.
Yeah.
And then then there's a bridge. If you stand on the bridge, you're an idiot and you get soaked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, after we got done riding that, so we got a little bit wet, but not too bad. And I had to get something, and then I was behind everybody, and the other one was going up, and I'm looking at the people in front of me. I'm like, "Go, you guys! Hey, it's coming, guys! Let's go! And I was like, "Whoa." They were looking back at me like, "Whoa, whoa!" I'm like, "We're gonna get creamed over here," because the kids got way ahead of me, and these people were just meandering super freaking slow. I was like, "What are you idiots doing?" I'm like, "We're gonna get soaked," and they were just like, "Whoa." And then finally, I got get on the move a little bit, and I thought we were clear because we were off the bridge. No. Not clear. I was the last guy, and when that boat hit, all the water came and just soaked my freaking ass so bad. It was just dripping all, and it was nice. It was a hot day and all, but then I was just drenched. Just drenched. And I can still feel it to this day, to today.
Hey, you get soggy in your nether regions, and that's not that fun.
That was bad. No, I was wearing swimming trunks, but I had underwear on underneath.
Get a little trap. Gets a little trapped
in
there. That was bad for anybody. Yeah. I get it. Well, I'm glad you had fun there. I'm glad you rode a dangerous roller coaster and other things and got soaked accidentally. Well, I feel bad for that. And I do feel bad that you had to put sunscreen on top of your head. That's my fault.
Yeah. But look, I didn't get a sunburn anywhere. So
good.
Sunscreen worked. 55 proof.
That's good. Smart. Okay. Protect your skin. Protect yourself. All right. Well, I don't know where to go from there, but I did have a new theme. I sent Ben a text. Actually, before we get into this, we got to acknowledge here, Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad, man, they sold their home this week officially. So our childhood home, the one we grew up in the longest, the one they lived in for almost 40 years, now is somebody else's. So that's a big step in their, their
It wasn't
lives.
the one I grew up in the longest.
Oh, whatever.
It was the one you grew up in the longest, not the
85?
one I grew up in the longest.
I
was
long
11.
Did you call it your residence, though? How long? Longer than the other one?
I don't know.
Yeah, you did. You called it.
Nope. I was longer in the other house. I was longer in the other house because I'm old.
Well, whatever.
See, look at my hair. I'm old. See, I was in the other house longer.
Well, it's a big step, and we're glad. Congratulations to them to get that done. And they hopefully, I know it's a big change, but it's kind of what had to happen now. So anyway,
yeah,
that happened this week too. So lots of other stuff happening now. We were going to talk some Packers. We will talk some Packers, sort of, but the whole theme. I sent Ben a text and I said, Ben, people, some people were getting, we were upset. We were being more negative. Some people were saying we're too negative. We saw Nico, and then Nico's like, "Whoa, you're the only Packer podcast who doesn't even like the Packers," and blah, blah, blah. Some garbage like that. And I'm like, we love the Packers. That's why we get upset.
That's right. Because we're not blind followers like everybody else.
Yeah, when they do dumb stuff. And we don't want to ever turn into like mouthpieces for the Packers and all this stuff. We want to tell you what we think. But I thought, well, what if we challenged ourselves and we tried to do a positive hacker show? A positive, all positives, being positive when we talk about the Packers. And could we do it? Could we do it? I think we might have a chance tonight because we're going to focus on a positive. So we're going to feature a positive topic, and then we'll try to stay positive about everything except, of course, you can still throw shots at Rodgers or people like that. That's allowed. That's allowed because they're not Packers anymore. But otherwise, I'm like trying to be positive about everything. So I think we can do it. I think it'll work. I do have a couple of tests for us tonight to see how on track we can stay. But first, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the top 5 Packers you are most excited to see this season. So if you are watching and you're chatting, let us know who some of the players you're excited to see in 2023. Ben, who's one of your top 5 that you're excited to see in 2023? On the field, playing football for the Green Bay Packers.
Want me to start?
Yeah. Well, you want me to start? I can start.
Okay.
Who are you most excited to see? Do you want to rank them? You want to put them in order, or do you want to just?
I'll do the obvious one first.
Oh, okay.
And then my most excited last.
Oh, dang! All right. Who's the obvious one? There's a lot of ones I'm excited about.
Who's the obvious one?
Yeah.
I don't know how you could not know. Oh, I gotta have a video. See, that's why I thought like you need to let me know, and then I get my video prepared. See, why don't you give yours, and then I'll have the video.
Okay. All right.
For
it's
mine.
already putting a little strain here, but
we don't.
Okay.
So we don't have dead time.
One of my guys for sure is Christian Watson. I'm super excited to see Christian Watson because what we saw from him last year, what we saw from him and Jordan Love, and a little bit together, but also just the way once he got going, the way they utilized him and they progressed. And even if he's not, like lighting it up stats wise, I'm just excited to see him like change the way defenses play the Packers offense and open up the running game. That's going to be awesome too. So I'm super excited to see Christian Watson in 2023. Might be an obvious one, but you should be excited about that if you're a Packer fan.
That's awesome. I agree. Pretty excited about that.
All right, I'm gonna try to add this. It was getting a little funky on the stream, but hopefully it hangs in there and we're good to go here. Let's see what happens.
You share my screen here?
I think we're stable here. Yep, you're shared.
Am I on?
You're on.
All right, here's my first guy. I think it's pretty obvious. With Aaron Rodgers gone, this guy might actually be used properly.
Wow.
And that's, of course, my favorite guy, Aaron Jones. Is it just all wacky and crazy or what? Or is it showing pretty good?
It's doing okay.
Just some classic Aaron Jones. Some simple Aaron Jones following his blockers. Simple Aaron Jones getting to the outside on a flip play.
Rodgers tried to make that a pass.
Some yards.
You know he did. He tried to
make
it a forward pass.
He wanted to. Getting hugged by TJ Slayton. That's your guy. I mean, it's not surprising. I'm excited to see this guy finally get his due and be the, he's not even on the top 10 running backs list for coming into 2023, which is a joke and a half. He's just got the speed, the ability, the quickness, the vision, everything. And he still's got it, even in his 7th season coming up. So I'm excited to see some Aaron Jones getting hugged by TJ Slayton, patting him on the head. That's my guy. Aaron Jones, of course. One of my favorites of all time.
All right. I hope you didn't make videos for everybody because that put a little strain on your Wi-Fi, and then it made the video played a little choppy, but made you kind of crackly and a little like you're in a kung fu movie again.
Well, too bad.
But now you're good. Now you're good.
Because I have videos for everybody. So.
Oh, dang it.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, good enough. All right. Who's another guy? I'll give you another guy. Hopefully, I think. Well, I'll say Aaron Jones is one of my guys too, because that is awesome. He's one of my guys. Was Christian Watson one of your guys?
No. Oh. I mean, sure, but he's not the guy I was going to.
He's not one of your top 5? Okay. All right. Aaron Jones is one of my top 5 because, for many of the same reasons. Excited to see him not get, not the ball taken away from him again and given to him more, and then doing what he does in the field. And hopefully with a more stable offensive line, you'll have, and guys in better spots, he'll have good running lanes and better blocking and all that good stuff. So, and hopefully these young tight ends can do the job. Maybe do a better job than our previous tight ends who were supposed to be so great. So Aaron Jones is one of my guys too. Yeah. But I'll give you a new one. One guy that I'm pretty excited about to watch this year.
Okay. Who is it?
I know it's somebody everybody's gotten hyped up about, but it's Quay Walker. I want to see what Quay Walker does when Devondre Campbell, when he starts the season as the main dude, and Devondre Campbell isn't taking some snaps from him, and he's got a whole year. He's not a rookie anymore. He's been through it. He doesn't have that kind of like that hangover from college and all that. I'm excited to see what he does, and I hope he's done a little bit of work to keep his emotions under wraps a little bit when after the whistle is done, but when between the whistles, do whatever you want, Quay Walker, instead of except for like illegal stuff that gets you penalties. But I'm excited to see what he does.
Well, that's cool. Let me know when you're going to share my video here.
All right, here we go. It's coming back.
My next guy is, if you look here on the screen, you got Quay Walker right in the middle. That's not who I'm talking about now, but last year, before the 2022 draft, there were 2 players that I wanted the Packers take with their first-round picks. The first guy I wanted was George Pickens, which they did not take with their first or their second first or when they traded up. But Christian Watson is doing pretty dang good. And Christian Watson has a higher upside than George Pickens. It's just I thought George Pickens was going to be like an A.J. Green type guy who very solid, good hands, tall, skinny guy, can get open and, cause a little bit of problems. But Christian Watson has proven to be a game breaker if he just can catch the ball. He doesn't quite have control of his body, but he is exciting to watch, which is why you had him on your list earlier. But the one guy I talked about before the draft was who, Jace?
Devontae Wyatt.
Devontae Wyatt. I was excited. That was the guy I wanted the Packers to take. They took him. Unfortunately, we didn't really see him play last year. So I'm excited to watch this guy play. And this is his sack against the Lions, so we thought we'd take a look. I got it in slow motion. Hopefully that'll help not make it so choppy, or it'll seem choppy on purpose for a reason. So this is half speed. But it's just, he's got agility. He's got good moves. This is just him being aggressive and going right through the guy, and the guy just not getting hands on him. And then he's sack fumble. And that's hopefully what we'll see more of. He's got to work on his play against double teams. He was getting shoved around a little bit last year when he was in there. And even when you watch this play, usually he has really good moves, pass rushing moves. This was his he had been on the field a long time on this. This is like his 5th play in a row, but he still was able to beat the one-on-one matchup to get to the quarterback. So that's one of those things where I'm excited to see a guy who I was excited to see last year, and we never got to really see him play.
Mm-hmm.
So now being able to see him play this year and be in, there's nobody else on the roster. I mean, Reed is gone, Lowry's gone.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to have to play. He's going to have an impact, and we need that to happen this year, and that's what I'm excited for.
He gave him a rip there. He was kind of, well, he wasn't even, if you watch that replay, he wasn't even set because he was still shifting when they snapped the ball, so he wasn't in a great position to start. And then he kind of gave like a little bit of a weak move, but then he ripped him a little bit and got past the guy. So, I mean, what the heck? The only thing that threw me off there in that initial still screen was I had flashbacks because I thought I was looking at the Packers offense from behind, because Quay Walker's number 7. He was lined up like basically behind the center. And I had flashbacks of that Brett Hundley being behind center, and that was not a good flashback. So,
well, whenever you see a 7 Packer jersey, you should think of Don Mikowski. So
I'm sorry, I'm scarred by Brett Hundley.
Shame on you.
Scarred. How did he look? He did Don Mikowski's number dirty, man.
Yeah,
Brett
he did.
Hundley, terrible. Did he even realize whose jersey he was wearing? Whose number he was wearing? The legend of the Magic Man?
Probably he had no idea. And, probably a lot of Packer fans don't know anything about that either.
Learn Packer history.
All right, who's your next guy? Let's go.
My next guy, it's kind of a tough one, but no, it's the easy one. I'm super excited to see Rasul Douglas play this year because I hope he's going to be mad. I hope he's going to kick everybody's butt. I think he's still a little stinging after he got through last season and heard all the garbage talked about his play and about how his teammate was pumped up to be so awesome. And then he's probably thinking he makes 3 times as much money as me. Apparently he's great and I'm garbage. I don't know. That could go one of 2 ways, but I think that might be why he skipped the OTAs.
Oh, he skipped them last year too, so.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe it's just a thing. Maybe he had family commitments or
it's priorities. As long as he is committed, I don't care. As long as he plays as tough as he always has played, it's fine with me. He did last year, and he came out and he played pretty good. I mean, he was a little less aggressive in the running game, I thought, last year, watching the tape, but he's still better than most.
Lee says, we know Jones and Watson are going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to watching Love, obviously.
Yeah, I kind of took this exercise as the...
Then why getting more snaps?
We're not going to mention Jordan Love because I think everybody's, excited to see what the heck's going to happen there.
Is everyone excited to see him, or is some people scared? Or some
I'm sure,
fans
but I mean...
scared? Oh my God. What will happen?
I don't know.
We can't play football without Aaron Rodgers. Oh my God. Anyway, no, Jordan Love will be fine. Yeah, I'm excited to see Jordan Love too, but like you said, that's been out there. We'll go 5. I probably should have put that 5 people other than Jordan Love. Right. You want me to give another one? Is it my turn or your turn? I forget.
It's my turn. Share the screen. Let's go.
All
right, here we go. This is my guy, number 3.
Oh, boy.
This is in slow motion. Obviously, last year, he was only the kick returner for half the year. And he freaking was an all-pro. So what's he going to do in an entire year? Plus, we're going to see him starting as the star nickel slot guy on defense, which can only be good. This does not look as impressive in slow motion. And it's probably choppy and who knows what. But it's Keyshawn Nixon, man. Keyshawn Nixon is an aggressive, tough-nosed, in-your-face, energy guy. And that's exactly what the defense needs. They've already got Rasul there. But Keyshawn has even got more aggressive energy in him. And because of that, he's my number 3 excited guy to see and see what he has to do. And you might say, well, where's all the rookies and the Jaden Reed and all these guys? Nah. Keyshawn Nixon. He's a guy who looked great last year. And we were calling for him to play more on defense. We didn't know he was going to be a return guy, but we were calling for him when he was in the game of defense in the early parts of the year. We were like, why is this guy not out there? He at least is aggressive. He might screw up once or twice a game. Who cares? He made 12 plays in that game. I'd rather have a guy who makes 12 plays and then only screws up twice than a guy who only makes 2 plays and screws up 12 times. Hello?
Darnell Savage?
Yeah, you heard me. So, Keyshawn Nixon, I'm excited about that guy. Keyshawn Nixon, the awesomest of awesome, exciting guys.
He's on my list too. He's awesome. I mean, obviously with what he showed, and then them this offseason coming out and saying like he's going to be, on defense on the field, like that's really good to hear. And I think, it doesn't matter Eric Stokes comes back or not, unless they have so many problems at safety that they decide to explore moving Rasul there. But Keyshawn Nixon's, like you said, for all those reasons, he's awesome. He's hungry. And on top of that, you just gotta love his attitude. Now, one thing on that replay, Ben, is I noticed like a bunch of guys right in the middle really didn't get any blocks there. I don't know what the hell was going on.
No,
I mean,
they did not.
The Vikings,
which is even more exciting.
Like Jonathan Garvin didn't get his block, and Dallin Levitt just jumped around like this. We're like, woo!
Well, he had his back to everybody. Yeah, he couldn't block anybody. Yeah,
and then somebody else didn't block anybody, and it was like, okay, maybe the Vikings need to work on their kick coverage. That's what Vikings.
The Vikings were bad. There is no doubt on that play. But we took advantage of it because we have a guy who's just aggressive. He took the ball in the end zone and just said, I don't give a crap. Most guys would catch that ball in the end zone and take a knee.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah. And he took it all the way for 6 points. But that's the difference. That's why he's exciting. That's why it's exciting to have him. Like instead of getting the ball at the 25-yard line every time, Jordan Love may be able to start the ball at the 40 half the time. Yeah. Or the 50, or for God's sake, even inside the red zone already. Or he may score a touchdown. Who knows? But it's more exciting than anything else we've seen over the last, since, I can't even remember. So that's why. That's why.
I dig it.
Who's another guy you're in for?
Another guy I'm in for. So I think I'm up to 4 already. Or I just on 3.
That's 3.
That's only 3? Are you sure?
Well, you said Aaron Jones and Christian Watson and Quay Walker, and then I don't know who else.
Yeah, that's 4 for me. And Keyshawn Nixon. Keyshawn Nixon's one of my guys. So I'm up to 4.
Okay,
right? Well, how many you got left? 2?
I got a bunch.
Well,
I have 6. I overachieve.
You didn't follow the rules again.
I don't follow. When have you learned? I never follow the rules.
You don't follow the rules?
No. That's been my whole MO my entire life.
No. All right.
I hate the rules. The rules are for idiots.
I got
I follow the rule of Ben, which is do what's right, and just and fair, instead of what the rule is. Because a lot of times the rules are stupid.
You're not sticking to being positive on that one. Okay. All right. Here we go.
You shared
what
me?
else? What am I looking at here? Yep.
This is actually one of your guys. So it's also a guy I have on my list too, on my short list. And if you look at this defensive alignment, you got we got D-back. We only have one guy in the middle of the field, and that's our good friend, Devondre Campbell.
Devondre Campbell, yes.
Who's so good.
All-pro the previous year.
But the sneak attack, and then also, what do the Packers have on the D-line? Reed, TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt. Right? Over here, this is Preston. And look who they got lined up at outside linebacker on this play.
Oh, okay.
Quay Walker's lined up at outside linebacker. So if you were a quarterback and you saw this alignment, what would you be thinking in your head with Quay Walker lined up at outside linebacker?
I don't know. I'm not a quarterback.
Okay. Well, most quarterbacks would think, "Ooh, he's coming." And look at his stance. Look how his head is forward. He looks like he's coming.
Yeah, he does.
He looks like he's coming. But guess what? Watch him on this play. Psych! Psych!
Back.
And Kirk Cousins thinks he's not going to be there because he saw Devondre Campbell go with the running back.
Oh, then he just smacks him.
But Quay Walker said, And look after he gets done, he just gets up and looks at Cousins like, you idiot. How could you think I'm going to blitz? That would leave Rasul on an island out there. It's genius because Cousins never sees Walker because he thinks he's coming. Right? He sees Campbell go with the running back and he thinks Hawkinson's open. And then Quay gets over there and smacks him and disrupts the play. And that's what I'm excited about. A guy who has the speed, the athleticism, and the agility to not only blitz if he needs to, not only get around blocks, but he can cover. And he can disguise. Because it looked like he was coming on that play. His body was leaning forward. It looked like he was ready to go. Now, obviously, that was half speed. In real speed, it looks way more impressive, like I've said before. But what I'm saying is, it's kind of like a Christian Watson aspect here, where The talent is way, way, way up here. And if Joe Barry just uses his brain power, you have the opportunity to make this guy become a real key player with this team. You can have him lined up all over, look like he's doing this, but he's really doing that. Look like he's coming here, but he's really coming here. And then you can actually have him blitz right up the middle. And you can have him do all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's why I'm excited for Quay Walker. Season 2. He does need to, he kind of needs to hold up a little better against blocks. Sometimes he can't get off a block. But he's great in coverage. He's aggressive. He just showed how he could smack a guy and cause him to, drop the ball after he caught it. Because the ball was already caught, and Quay just smacked him and he dropped it. Yeah. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about with a good player and a first-round pick who needs to produce this year with all the other first-round picks on the defense. And hopefully that's something to look forward to and for us Packer fans to really be excited about is the evolution of a playmaker on defense. Because we haven't had a playmaker on defense really since Charles Woodson. I mean,
in the middle.
Well, anywhere. Like an actual play, like a guy who can make a guy who can just, like when you watch highlights of Charles Woodson, there's plays where there's one I can remember, he just knifes through the whole defense. It's like a goal line stand. He just knifes through the whole defense, jumps like sideways, grabs a dude's toe to trip him. And if he would have done that, he would have scored because he would have ran to the outside. You know what I mean? Like just the ability to just be aggressive and make a play. And that's Quay Walker has the athleticism to do that. And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. Also, like you just pointed out, you can have him in that end spot or the edge spot and actually do something other than rush that's effective. Because when we see them ever drop anybody else back, it doesn't, Gary can't really cover. Preston, we know him. That's not his thing. None of those guys are really good at that. So, but if you are going to move him around and put him in that spot, teams will have to be more aware. And then maybe you do surprise him. Maybe you do rush him and then they catch a guy off guard. Or maybe you run a stunt and he loops from the outside inside and comes right up the A gap or something. There's all kinds of stuff you can do, like you said, if you want to be creative and use your athlete. So hopefully Joe Barry does that. All right. I like it. Good to go. Oh, man. All right. Well, one more guy for me that I'm super excited about. And that's just Josiah DeGuara. I'm super excited to see Josiah DeGuara on the field more, being able to do stuff he's good at more, and I'm excited for it. I don't know if they're going to use him in the tight end spot whatsoever. He might just only be kind of in that fullback spot or the H-back, whatever. But even out of that, he can do it. Sometimes they split him out too, and I think you're just going to see him utilized a lot more, and he's such a good player in so many ways, not flashy ways, but all the ways you need a player to do his role. He does his role to the best all the time. So I'm excited to see him do more of that this season.
Share my screen, bro.
All right, share your screen.
Because you know who my next guy is?
Jordan Love. I see him in there.
It's Jordan Love. But it's not Jordan Love. It's the guy he's throwing to.
All right, let's see it. Oh, there he is. Look, he made a cut.
And he broke a tackle.
And he's pretty fast.
And that guy was holding on that play. They didn't call it. That's okay. That whoever the receiver was on the outside. I don't know who it was, but he was holding. Josiah DeGuara, man. Josiah DeGuara, and that was half speed. So it doesn't look as exciting, as I said earlier. But that's my guy. Josiah DeGuara touchdown. I want to see that more often. Josiah DeGuara touchdown. I want to see a guy who does all the dirty work. Last year, he did a whole lot of dirty work. And all people are doing is talking smack about him. But when you watch him play, he's able to do stuff like this. Cut, move,
Lucas.
Cut back to the outside, break a tackle. Ooh, that was St. Brown who was holding on that play. Good job holding St. Brown, because I don't know if that guy probably would have caught this Josiah otherwise. But anyways, he does all the dirty work. And people are talking smack about him. And they just drafted 2 tight ends. So obviously he's not going to play, right? He's not useful, right? Blah, blah, blah. No, he is useful. When you watch his college tape, when you watch the game plays like this, he's very good with the ball in his hand. He's very good at finding the open space. He's a smart guy. And he's like the perfect tool. He is the sneak attack, fullback, whatever you want to call it, type guy. And now we got a little Jordan Love 2-point conversion where nobody goes with him because they're used to playing against Rodgers. And then Jordan Love's like, hey, you can't. We're going to score a touchdown. And we're going to score a 2-point conversion here, buddy. And that's just the kind of stuff you're talking about. And now I have to do this right at the very end. I'm going to pause it just for you.
Ah!
Look at that. Can you imagine if this was the starting center for this particular young man? And look at him. You know what he's telling him right now? You're the future, my friend. You're the guy who I want to be snapping to in the future. And of course, we lost him after that year. But this is Lukey Patrick, the guy who should be the Packers center right now, telling Jordan Love, way to go, buddy. Way to go. And that's exciting.
Yep, I agree. I also appreciate how you worked in your Josiah DeGuara play. Worked in the play Lucas, like blocked one guy and the other guy and took 2 guys out. That was pretty awesome.
That's Lucas is one of. I mean, it's really dumb. I just listen. I don't want to be we're not going to be negative. All I can say is this:
nope.
When you watch the film and you're a Packer fan, and you watch the film, and you see guys like Lucas Patrick and Josiah DeGuara, just 2 guys, for instance, on offense over the last couple of years, who continuously do the dirty work, who continuously look for work. That's the other thing. Maybe they miss the block initially, but then they look for the next guy to block. And sometimes that's enough because maybe Aaron Jones can make the guy that they miss, right? And then that next level, like that next block of the next level makes Jones go for the big run or Josiah DeGuara go for the big run or whatever it might be. And that's the difference between a guy like Lucas and a guy like Josiah, who are smart, hardworking, tough, know what they're doing on the field, and are constantly looking for something to do, constantly looking to work, to be productive on the play so they can feel like they did something, instead of a guy who just blocks for a little bit and then is like, oh, I'm done. And that's the difference. And then when you hear guys, other Packer shows, talk smack about Lucas Patrick and Josiah DeGuara and say that they're not that great and all this other crap, and you're like, are you watching the same thing I'm watching? Because, and then they say these other guys are like the greatest. Oh, he's the greatest blocking tight end in the history of all time. Like, Mercedes. Okay, if Mercedes doesn't get his initial block, he does nothing on a play. Just honest to God. Now, if he gets his initial block, he does great. I'm not saying he's bad, but these guys, Lucas, Josiah, other guys like that, John Runyon, they look to make a play. They look to continue doing things after that, and that's why they're my favorite guys at offense, and probably your favorite guys at offense, and that's why I would love to see Josiah DeGuara get more integral into the offense, be able to use him more. Maybe they draft these tight ends so that they can take the top off in the middle, and Josiah sneaks in, and he doesn't have the speed of Musgrave, right, or the size of Kraft, but he's got the craftiness of a veteran. I mean, think about it, he's like a leader, and I think Matt LaFleur has named him as one of the leaders on the team already. When he talked about in the earlier in the offseason here, he talked about certain guys that were leaders, and he said Josiah DeGuara is one of, he's one of the guys who's here, who's showing the young guys how to do it. And he is, because there's like nobody left. Dave Bakhtiari's not doing anything.
I wonder, that's interesting. Who do you think will be the Packers captains on offense this year?
It might be Josiah DeGuara, Aaron Jones, and Jordan Love.
I know.
It might honestly be those 3 guys. But it'll probably be Dave Bakhtiari because he's oldest.
But it shouldn't be. Based on his off-season comments and other stuff, he should not be a captain.
Right. It might be Jenkins.
Right. I don't know. And I wonder if Jenkins will be like, hey, when the hell am I get to be captain around here?
Yeah. But it's one of those things where I don't think, I don't know. I hope to God that they don't, it's almost like when you get that shiny new toy and you're all excited about that shiny new toy and you forget about the really good, awesome toys you had already when you were a kid or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
And then you realize this thing, it makes a lot of noise and stuff, but who gives a crap? Like, I can't do anything with it. I'm going back. It's just like in the Toy Story movie, right? He was all excited. We got Buzz Lightyear and forgot about freaking Woody.
Yeah.
Well, that's just good. I don't want that to happen. We got Buzz Lightyear. That's Luke Musgrave, right? Don't forget about Josiah DeGuara. He's the Woody. He's a solid, awesome guy who works his butt off, and he can do things when he gets the ball in his hands, but his past quarterback wouldn't give him the freaking ball. So Jordan Love's his buddy. Let's hope that we see more plays like that. Now, we want to have Lukey Patrick blocking for him, so he might not get that far. He might be tackled after 10 yards. But it's exciting, and that's one of my guys.
He can still navigate, though. That's the thing about him that's a little different than some of the other guys. Is he's got pretty good change of direction,
agility. Yes,
yeah, for sure.
Which Musgrave is more straight line speed,
and so that hopefully opens up those plays in the playbook where you see from Kyle Juszczyk from the 49ers, right? I mean, he'll run over the middle, he'll run the circle route over the middle, he'll maybe come out like that, maybe an option route, maybe it's a flat, whatever it is, but he's got the ability to do that. And if you have other guys like stretching the field and opening up that underneath stuff, he could be the right guy to put in that spot and get the ball to. He's got good hands, and he can do something with it after he catches it. So I like it. I like it a lot. Okay. Did you have one more that I missed? Oh, all right. Who else you got?
You didn't miss, but I have one more. Yeah.
All right, man. Those are my 5. That other than Jordan Love, and Jordan Love is kind of out there.
I made 6. I made 6 because one of them is obviously going to be on the list, and that's just my last guy I'm going to show. I'm actually got 2 videos for him.
Okay.
Because he's the best. Hey!
Oh, Tripzilla!
Here you go.
Oh, here it is. Kirky Cousins again.
Right here on the bottom of your screen in half speed. 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3. Nope. And you might say, well, that's not that exciting of a play. Really? It was 3rd and 4. It was 3rd and 4, and it led to a punt. You tell me that's not exciting. Now, does he grab him, which is a penalty? Right there. You bet your butt he does, but he's wearing a white glove, and it's a smart move to wear the white glove when you're playing a guy with a white jersey on. And that is why Rasul is the man. And people might think, like I just said, that's not exciting. What are you talking about, Ben? It led to a punt. That's not points we're giving up. That's pretty exciting to me. That's not a big run or a big catch on you. It's an incomplete pass, a pass breakup by one of our best guys. And that's why Rasul is the man. And now I'm going to show you 2 more plays. 2 plays in a row. And from the same exact game. And after the game, after this game, all we heard about was Jair Alexander and how great he was and how great he was and how great he was. Right? Because this is the second Vikings game. And all we heard about was...
Wait a minute, that last play, that happened in the second Vikings game?
That was the second Viking game, yep.
Oh, I didn't hear anything about that.
Yeah, well, of course you didn't.
It was a drive ender that got him off the field. That's important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Okay, well.
Now we're going to show a couple more plays here for you. Oh, wait, if I can get it to work. Why is it not working?
That was against Adam Thielen. He's a shorter... Well, he's a little older now. He's probably not as fast, but still a little shifty, right? He's pretty shifty.
Yeah. I'm ready to show if you're ready to show.
All right, here we go.
All right, if you look at the screen, you're going to see Rasul on top. They're obviously in a zone coverage, which, of course, everybody said that the Packers played man, right? Didn't they say we played man?
Mm-hmm.
Because Jair was covering Justin Jefferson the entire game, man coverage, right? And if you look here, what we got is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. So there's 2 safeties back. You can't even see them on the screen right now.
I hate that.
On 3rd and 10.
3rd and 10. I think we want to stop him getting 10 yards. Yeah, it's 3rd and 10.
And you got Jair right here up on Justin Jefferson, up tight. But you know that there's 2 safeties back here to help him out. Then you got Rasul, and he's on a tight end. This is TJ Hawkinson. They line up all the way over here. And you got 2 slot guys over here, Thielen and some other dude over here. And then you got, I think this is Keyshawn right here, right up on a guy's face. And this is Savage here. So maybe wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's 9. There's got to be 2 guys hiding back here. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's Rudy Ford, and they must be playing 6 defensive backs.
Amos. Don't forget about Amos.
Oh, Amos is back there, yeah. So it must be Amos and Rudy Ford must be back here. Anyways, we're just going to watch up here. We're watching Rasul. And I just want to show because people are going to think, oh, who cares, Ben? But just watch. It's half speed.
Yeah, got a little inside pressure. That's good.
And you might say, well, what's so great about that? Well, that's a 6'5", 250-pound tight end that Rasul Douglas tackled to the ground on 3rd and 10.
Stop from getting the first down again.
As soon as he caught it, that was it. A simple play that you might think, oh, that's not that great. Now it's 4th and 3, and they're going for it. And this is the very next play. They're going for it. And what does Rasul Douglas do on this play? Gets his hand in there on the same exact guy, makes the play, and then Savage is Johnny on the spot. Of course, he gets a block. He gets the ceiling block. That was a nice cut though by Savage there. But Madison doesn't know. Madison's not actually a good defender. He's just a running back, so he doesn't know what the heck he's doing. But I just showed you 3 plays. That's just 3 plays in the first half, like in the first quarter. That was 3 plays in the first quarter. I didn't have to go past the first quarter of this game to get 3 awesome Rasul plays. And they're not like where he made the play where everybody's like, oh yeah, whoa, look at that. But remember Jair when he held Justin Jefferson and broke up the pass, then he did a little gritty and all that, and everybody went nuts about it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody went crazy about that, and they went crazy about this return for a touchdown. But it's Rasul Douglas who had the pass break up on 3rd down, had the tackle short of a first down on TJ Hawkinson, then got his hand in there and smacked that up in the play, a pass breakup, which led to an interception, and then gets the block on Thielen to spring him. And that's the difference between a very good defensive player and a guy who everybody is talking about trying to make them into a big defensive player. Because when you watch the film, you see the truth. And the truth is 29 makes plays. 29 makes consistent plays every game. Every game. He's making pass breakups. He's making tackles to stop it on 3rd down. He's making plays everywhere. And that's why he is my favorite player to watch on defense by a million. Because he's so smart. He's so aggressive. He's able to tackle. He doesn't have the speed. That's his one weakness. So when he goes up against a little quick guy, yeah, he gets beat. But then he tackles him right away. It's not like he's getting beat and then like the guy's gone. No, he gives up a catch and then he tackles him. Or other guys give up the catch and they don't even touch him or whatever. And that's the difference between Rasul Douglas, who is the best defensive player on this team, yet gets no respect from anybody. And that's who I'm most excited to see because he is the best. He's just the best. I mean, that was 3 plays in the first quarter. 3 plays. All drive stoppers or led the defensive points because of Rasul Douglas. I mean, those plays don't happen without Rasul Douglas. He made all those plays.
Guaranteed.
Just saying.
No other defensive back on the team brings down TJ Hawkinson on that 3rd and 10. He breaks through that and gets the first down.
Because he's 6'2", 210 pounds, and he can tackle.
And the 4th down play, like other guys wouldn't have been close enough to him, or when they were, they're not long enough to reach over and tip that ball.
They would have just tried to tackle him. Yeah. They would have tried to get in there. Like he would have caught the ball, and then they would have tackled him, and it would have been a first down.
Yeah, right.
But Rasul's like, screw that. I want to break this crap up. Because that's what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's the man. So there you go.
Damn.
You can't get much better than that. I got all these videos in like 20 minutes before he went on. I just went and watched some shows. Went, bloop, bloop, bloop. There we go. Oh, yeah. I just watched 2 games. The Vikings game and that Lions game. From 2 years ago. Because I knew about that Josiah Aguilar play. I wanted for sure. The other plays were all the Vikings game. And I was like, oh, Keyshawn. That's right. He played in that game. Who else am I looking forward to? Quay Walker. I'll just watch a little bit in the first quarter. Does Quay Walker make a play? Oh, that was cool. He lined up at outside linebacker, dropped back in coverage, smacked the crap out of maybe TJ Hawkins is not as good as we all think he is. Because we just showed he got his butt kicked by Quay Walker, dropped the ball. He got his butt kicked by Rasul and got tackled. And then he wasn't aggressive enough to go up for the ball, and Rasul batted the ball in the air because he wasn't aggressive enough to go get the ball. So maybe TJ Hawkinson stinks. I think he does. That's probably why the Lions traded him away. But the Vikings think he's good, so that's good for us because he's on there. But also we have guys who are aggressive and playing tough who know that TJ Hawkinson's kind of a wimp. So you just smack the crap out of him. Genius. That's good play. I'll take that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. And those are the guys that make plays. And that's one of the things that I think we're looking forward to, more of the attention being on them instead of it's always being about the quarterback all the time. And
I just want to say, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think that's going to be a refreshing change for all Packer fans this year. Like, obviously, people are going to be talking about Jordan Love and paying attention to what he does and how he plays. But he's not going to get credit for all the good things that happen like it used to happen for decades, around here.
Well, he will. He will if he starts making plays. It'll be the same crap because it's the way it is around here. But that's not what. I was just going to quick say that we don't have any rookies on here, neither of us, because we haven't seen them. We don't know what we're looking for. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. And are we all excited for the rookies? Yes, of course we are. We're excited for a big tight end who's tall and fast and can run down the field in the middle and make plays. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Right. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for a jitterbug guy who's quick, who can play slot wide receiver and gadget guy. We haven't had that in a while. I mean, Randall Cobb doesn't have the speed. This guy's got speed, so hopefully he could do it. He's about the size of Randall Cobb. He's a bulkier guy. He should be able to block a little bit too, and he's smart. I liked his interviews when I saw his interviews. But there, a lot of these rookie guys, we're excited, but we don't know quite what we're going to do, so we're not going to mention him tonight. Tonight was our show to talk about guys that we think can really help this team moving forward. Have we lost a lot of players? Yes. Hopefully what we've done is we've allowed the guys who have been overlooked to now shine this season. And these are the guys that we believe are guys who can shine. And we've seen it on film. We've been talked about them all last year and the year before that, a lot of these guys. And it's time for them to all come in. And some of them are second-year players, like you said, Christian Watson and Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt. They're all the top picks from last year, and we need them to perform. And we're excited about that and hoping that that's the case. The other guys are guys who are free agents, pickups that when they had their chance to play, they look awesome. And they brought him back or whatever on a second contract. And Rasul Douglas, Keyshawn Nixon, both those guys had their 1-year deals and they brought him back a second time on another contract because of how well they performed. And yeah, this is the third season for Rasul with the Packers, but these are things we're excited about. More opportunities as long as Stokes stays hurt. No offense, Stokes. But I'd rather see Rasul out there with Jair and Keyshawn Nixon than because if he comes back and then they start doing something weird and try to bring him back in the fold, and it just, it's kind of like when you bring Middleton back with the Bucks after they were playing great, and then it just ruined the whole chemistry and everything got all whacked out, and then they lost in the playoffs in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully the Packers coaches and everybody has realized that, you don't, whatever you do, 29's got to be on the field all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's dumb not to have him out there. Like to think that they started the season with Stokes and Jair last. And I mean,
because they're first round picks. The other guy was a cast off. But I don't care. The cast off makes plays, and he's your smartest, most aware, most impactful defensive player.
Well, I have to be honest. I hope Quay Walker is the most impactful defensive player this year.
He should be because he's in the middle. He'll be able to get
right. That's what I'm saying. He's going to be in the middle of the field. We need him to be like Rasul, and he's got more athletic ability. Like he should be even better than Rasul if everything comes together because he's got the potential to be something special.
Mm-hmm.
But I still want to see Rasul make plays too, and Keyshawn Nixon be aggressive, make plays.
Yeah,
and it all comes down to what the safeties are going to be like, and we don't know about that. That's the part that scares me. We don't want to be negative though.
So we've talked about that before. Just to finish up, we've talked about that before on the defense because a lot of Packers fans have had their issues and their complaints and their gripes and their whatever about the defense for all this time. When they're playing too soft and they're playing off and they're doing all this stuff, and it's like, and we couldn't figure out are they just drafting players that are too passive and not aggressive, or are the coaches taking that aggressiveness away? With the scheme, with the approach and all that stuff. But I still don't fully understand, it would seem really odd that there would just be this trend of drafting all of these passive defensive players, so many passive ones. Like, how do you get so many that aren't aggressive? I don't get it. So that would lead you to believe that it's probably something to do with the coaching. But then again, you change coordinators and it's still the same, and you change this and that. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. But this team, this defense, these aggressive players need to be allowed to play aggressive. Don't play scared. What the hell? And we said maybe it wasn't the coaches. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the king. I don't know. Maybe it was the old king that said, look, we can't be doing all that and taking all these chances and giving up big plays because I'll protect the football and then we'll win a bunch of games because we don't turn it over.
Okay, we're not being negative.
But what else is the answer? Like, you change coaches, you change players. I don't get it. All I'm saying is, if it was that guy, he's not here no more. So let's unleash these guys and attack the other team. Doesn't anybody want to see the Packers defense attack people for a change? It's so great.
Well, I think they're going to have to.
They're
going to have to. They're going to have to because there are going to be mistakes on offense. There are going to be turnovers in offense. So because there's going to be turnovers in offense, if they sit back and just do nothing and wait for the other team to make a mistake, you're going to lose every game. So they have to be more aggressive on defense. They have to attack more. They have to take more chances. You're probably, as a Packer fan, you're probably going to see, if they do that though, you will see more big plays given up, but you'll see more third down stops. You'll see more second longs because on first down they got in the backfield and made tackle for. You might actually see some tackle for loss by a defensive lineman. I can't remember the last time I saw that. Maybe Kenny Clark had like one last year. You know what I mean? I think Jaden Reed had like 2 last year. Like, it just doesn't happen. But with Wyatt and those TJ Slayton, maybe they can get back there and do something and cause some havoc. I don't know.
I hope so.
Or do a run blitz. Do a run blitz for God's sake.
Yeah.
And maybe you hit the wrong hole. Who cares? Maybe you hit the right hole. Maybe you do a run blitz and it's actually a pass. And next thing you know, the quarterback is smacked because Quay Walker was blitzing down right in his face and he got scared and threw it away. Or whatever. Incomplete pass. That's just as good as a sack. Well, not as good as a sack, but pretty dang close. So those are all things that have to be aggressive. I'll say this. There was I forgot to mention this last week. There was a series on, was it The Athletic or something? I can't remember exactly what it was. Maybe it was SI. I don't know. Anyways, it's called The Playmakers. It's like a podcast. You can find it. You just put search podcast on your wherever you look for podcasts. The Playmakers. Or Play Callers. The Play Callers.
Oh,
the Play
okay.
Callers.
I thought it was hosted by Michael Irvin there for a
No,
second.
it's the Play Callers. I take that back. Play Callers. Okay. And it's by, I can't remember her name, which is terrible because it's really awesome. She has like exclusive interviews with Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Mike, or what's that guy? That ding dong from Dolphins head coach, Mike McDaniel,
Michael,
Matt LaFleur, a couple other guys, a couple other head coaches. Now, if you're interested only in Matt in LaFleur, just listen to episode 1, episode 5, episode 2, 3, and 4 have hardly nothing to do with Matt LaFleur. It's all Shanahan, McVay, and Mike McMahon, whatever. So there's a little bit of LaFleur in the first one, a little bit of LaFleur in the last one. He's not really that big in this. He's kind of boring, to be quite honest. The other guys are all way more exciting to talk to. And by the way, Kyle Shanahan swears like nonstop. So if that bothers you, then don't listen to it. But anyways, you get to hear I listened to all 5 episodes. It's really cool though to hear like what they talk about, how they come up with plays, why they do what they do, how they came up in the ranks. It's a really good listen if you have time. I mean, it's long because it's 5 episodes, like 45 minutes each one. So it's like I can listen to it while I'm at work. You have to do it maybe on a long drive or when you're bored out of your mind or what, you know what I mean? Like, or when you're cutting the non-existence grass up here in the Midwest where there's like been no rain for like forever. So it's just like dirt and, dried up grass. But the takeaways are the things I have from it out of all that 5 episodes is Mike McDaniel is an egomaniac.
Oh.
And a douchebag. That's all I'm going to say. So this is live on the air, so everyone will hear it. Sorry, Mike McDaniel. I know people think he's funny or whatever. I think he's just like he seems like he's been smoking a lot of something whenever he talks. Oh. Have you ever seen his interviews?
No.
Well, all I know is this: he continuously brags himself up, like he's like, "Oh, I didn't worry about it." And he screwed up and got his butt. It's a long story. I just don't know how he ever got that job as a head coach for the Dolphins because he seems to be like I would not want him to be my head coach. That's all I'm going to say. He seems kind of like the I don't know, like the inmates are running the asylum in his brain. Is all I'm going to say. It's a little whack-tastical for me. So I'm not a fan of him at all. Kyle Shanahan, love his interview stuff. He's awesome. He swears too much, but he just takes no. He talks about the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl.
Yep.
Where they lost, and he was like, "I screwed up." He's like, "I was too aggressive." He's like, "I should have sat on the ball." He's like, "But back then I thought it was the right thing to do. Now I'm older. Obviously now now I learned. Back then I thought, I'm aggressive. I'm going to be aggressive. I want to keep being aggressive. That's how we got the big lead. I'm going to keep being aggressive. And it cost us. And now that I'm older, I, learn more things that way. And Sean McVay was really smart. After he got beat by Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl, when they only scored like 3 points or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that was after they figured out his offense. They figured out how to stop him.
Yep.
And it was the Vic Fangio scheme, because Bill Belichick watched a bunch of film and he used that same scheme and did the exact same thing to him to stop his offense. That was when he hired Staley, who was to be his head coach or to be his defense coordinator. And every day in practice, he told Staley to go up against him like hardcore so he could, learn as much about that defense as he could so that he could find an offense to combat it and then be productive again. And that's just smart. Now, Staley didn't stay there. Staley went on and got the head coaching job as the Chargers, right?
Yep.
But that one season when he was there, or 2 seasons or whatever it was, he was able to learn that defense and learn how to attack that defense. Very smart move. That's another thing I took from it. The other thing is about Matt LaFleur stuff. He is boring in his interviews. Very boring. The other guys are all kind of like, they all say like crazy stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's exciting. Let's do it. When Matt LaFleur talks, it's just like a boring guy. But I will say this. He said, he repeatedly talks about, he's like, I don't want to be, he has no ego. He's the exact opposite of Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
He repeatedly says over and over again, he's like, I don't care where the good idea comes from. If it's me, great. If it's somebody else, awesome. If it's from another team, I'll look for it and I'll find it and I'll use it. He's always constantly looking for good ideas, which I think is exciting and awesome. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The thing I think Matt LaFleur needs to work on is he does a great job of preparing for games. He does a great job of studying other teams. He does a great job of stealing like concepts from other teams and then putting them into his scheme. But they did talk about this a little bit, is in-game adjustments, being able to take a punch when things didn't go the way you thought and then be able to adjust in-game. And that's one thing where Mike McDaniel talked about doing, and he bragged himself up a couple times about how he adjusted in the game and it helped the team, whatever he was on. It was the 49ers or whatever at the time. And Matt LaFleur talked about how he wasn't able to adjust on a couple situations. And he needs to get better at that. And that is the truth. That's Matt LaFleur's biggest weakness. I think he's very smart. I think he's humble. He doesn't care if he's the main guy who has the idea, as long as it's a good idea. But he needs to be able to adjust in game if something goes wrong, and that's where he gets punched and he gets kind of knocked out, and he can't wake himself back up. Like, there's nobody there with the smelling salts. He has no smelling snouts. They're smelling salts to wake him up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that you see that a lot, because when the Packers get beat with the Matt LaFleur team, they get their butts kicked.
Yeah.
Right. There's no adjustment. They can't figure it out. They can't come back. There's nothing going on. They don't, and that needs to change. I don't know how it's going to change, but it was interesting to hear him talk. But it wasn't. If you want to listen, all I'm saying is this: it's a good listen. It's really cool. This girl gets to interview all these. This reporter gets to interview all these coaches, and it's really cool. And they're really candid, and they talk about a bunch of different stuff. Sean McVay talks about losing in the Super Bowl and how it affected them, and all this kind of, it's really cool. Like, if you're a football fan, it's awesome. Like, to hear all these head coaches talk about stuff. But if you're just interested in Packer stuff, listen to episode 1. Listen to episode 5. You'll hear the Matt LaFleur stuff, and it's pretty good. And he talks about like this stuff like that. So, and I don't remember. There's more stuff in there, but I'm not gonna tell you everything. Just go listen to it. But it's really cool. So it's Play Callers podcast, and it's free. If you want to, you can pay money if you want to skip the advertisements, but there's like only one advertisement in the middle for like 5 minutes. So who gives a crap? It's not that long. Just listen to it for free. It's fine. But it's really good interviews and really cool insight into these head coaches that are all friends, and they talk about how apparently that's the other thing real quick. Out of all these guys, Matt LaFleur was the one guy who, out of all of them, that Kyle Shanahan would get the most mad at him for some reason. I don't know why. All 4 of the guys talked about LaFleur being the one who, because he would just like say dumb stuff, or I don't know. Like he didn't have answers for things. I don't know, which scares me a little bit, because he also doesn't have answers in games, right? Because that was one thing Kyle Shanahan said. He's like, I don't care if you come to me with an idea, but I'm going to push back on your idea and tell you, okay, what happens if this happens during that play? Or this happens during that play. Like, he wants answers for the questions. Like, if you come to him with a cool play, I want because that's what he does. When he makes up a play, he's constantly, he comes up with the perfect play because he wants it to beat every defense, right? No matter what. Like in this situation, this happens. This situation, this happens. This situation, this happens. Well, apparently LaFleur would not have the answers sometimes. So or something like that. I can't exactly explain how it is, but you'll listen to the podcast. It's interesting to hear it. It's true, but he's also not an egomaniac like these other guys. And that was that's why Shanahan lost in the Super Bowl with Atlanta, because he was too aggressive. And that's why Mike McDaniel is a little wacky, or McDaniels, or whichever, I can't remember how to say his name, a little whack-tastical. But it's also how Sean McVay lost, because he had an ego trip in the first Super Bowl that he lost in. But then he learned and put his ego aside, and then he won a Super Bowl. And he's the only one out of the group that's won a Super Bowl. So it's interesting. It's a cool podcast. If you have time, listen to it. It's cool.
Nice. Also, I just wanted to point out that Matt LaFleur, his son is in the same class as our nephew, right?
Oh, yeah.
I believe. And so our sister has seen him and said that he's actually shorter than you think.
No, I think he's pretty short. He looks like he's like 5'9", 5'8".
He's really short. Yeah.
So he looks short.
He's a short man, but I mean that doesn't matter. It doesn't make you a good or bad head coach or whatever. But anyway,
I don't care.
Neither here nor
like
there.
I said, I think there's a whole lot of positive stuff with him.
Yeah.
It's just he needs to. Now, if he's a plan guy, he just needs to have a plan if something doesn't work. Like every situation should have a plan, and then he should have somewhere to find that information. So if he's in the middle of a game. And it's like, oh, crap, what's going on? Like he gets all flustered and he can't think of it. He needs to be able to look that thing up and be like, okay, in this situation, if they do this, this is where we attack, or this, or whatever, or find the weakness on the opposing defense and attack that, or whatever, as best he can. And it's hopefully we'll see more of that in the future without the restraints of the Aaron Rodgers offense. Maybe LaFleur will be able to use the full playbook at his advantage to then also attack the opposing team. Because I'm sure Rodgers is like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Even though LaFleur is like, well, this play is going to work great against this defense because their inside linebackers stink. And Rodgers is like, I'm not throwing the ball over the middle. Okay, well, you're an idiot because their inside linebackers stink, and that's who we attack. Well, because they couldn't do that because Rodgers won't throw it there, they can't do that. They have to adjust their game plan, right? So now LaFleur hopefully will be able to, hopefully they'll be able to attack wherever they need to. Maybe it's outside linebacker that stinks. You just go after him all game, right? Same thing.
Right. So don't limit your options on the field. Like go where their weakest points are and attack them. And if you had a player who didn't want to do that, I mean, or whatever, and it's not just us saying it. It was clear by if you just watch. I mean, that's the way the offense was run. The ball was almost always thrown to the outside the hashes, and why are you not attacking the middle? There's the most space there, and we showed plenty of plays where you saw lots of open green grass and not many guys around in the middle, but the ball didn't go there, and that's what happened. Hey, I have one quick thing to finish up on. Now, remember last week, in the last couple weeks, we went over some of this like offensive lineman, best D-bag era 53, and we talked about some of these offensive linemen and stuff, Ben.
Yeah.
And a number of those guys were not high draft picks, right? They were like 7th round picks, undrafted free agents, middle round picks. There weren't many high picks in there. So these were like offensive linemen that were developed and maybe coached well. And so I thought if we had like a wavelength for, valuable or whatever, most valuable or least valuable or whatever it was, one of those things. And I said James Campen, where would you put that thing?
Way high.
Yeah.
Because since he's left, it's not been the same.
Yeah.
But, 100%. I mean, though I will say John Runyon's okay. But, but compared to the guys who were here with Campen, I mean, Lucas Patrick got trained by Campen.
Yep.
And TJ Lang, Josh Sitton, Bakhtiari,
Scotty Wells,
all those guys, even Corey Lindsley. Everybody before that was all James Campen, and they were all awesome. So I don't know. And they were all undrafted, 2nd round pick, 3rd round. The only guy who wasn't was Blaga, who, you all know that. Oh, that brings me up another thing. Dang it, this show's never going to end.
It'll end. I just think James Campen is so awesome, and people undervalue how important he was to how good of offensive line play they had for such a long time without investing many high draft picks in it. That's impressive stuff. Anyway.
Well, it was interesting. I was listening to Wilde and Tausch today.
Oh.
And it was actually Wilde and Balaga today. Not Wilde and Tausch.
Oh. Is Brian Balaga retired finally?
Maybe. He must be because he was on Wilde and Tausch because Tausch must have been on vacation.
Oh.
But anyways, so Wilde and Balaga were on, and they were talking about Josh Myers. Apparently, Josh Myers in an interview said that there were many times over the last 2 years when he was playing center that he had to rely on Aaron Rodgers to make the line calls. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And that's interesting because it brings me back to how everybody thinks that Elton Jenkins is so great when you go in there and play center. I bet you Aaron Rodgers is making all the line calls when Elton Jenkins is playing center too. And the only time that we had a guy who actually made the own line calls was probably Lukey Patrick. And when he was in there. And it's kind of scary. Because
a little scary.
because now there is no Aaron Rodgers. Now, maybe Aaron Rodgers was changed it to something dumb. You know what I mean? Like if there was, it wasn't like, I don't know. All I'm saying is this.
What do you want here? What do you want? 2-jet. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. But
okay.
What Balaga said today was, he was talking about, Corey Linsley, he's like, I'm not going to tell you Corey Linsley made every single line call or that Aaron Rodgers never checked away from some of Corey Linsley's line calls. But he's like, it happened very rarely, maybe once or twice a game. He's like, usually Lindsey made all the calls when I was there. And he still was making all the calls even last year or whatever it was, or when he was in San Diego with them, or not San Diego, LA Chargers with them, because he signed with them too after Lindsey went there, right? So So that's something he said. So that's a little scary. So not only does Josh Myers need to pick up his play, he also needs to pick up his knowledge. And I'm concerned. I am seriously concerned. And Packer fans should be seriously concerned. If anybody thinks, because I've heard a lot of things this offseason, and I know it's supposed to be a positive show. I'm not being negative. I'm being just, concerned. Because everybody's been talking, the offensive line is stable. I mean, if there's one thing, we got a lot of question marks, young guys here, young guys there, young guys there. We also got a young guy at center who hasn't clearly proven everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm hoping he's got a better grasp. He said it's going to be more, I guess in this interview, he said, it's going to be a little bit trickier for me now. Like I have to make all the calls. I'm not going to have somebody there to back me up or, if I screw up. And I haven't gone back to watch that Kansas City game from a few years back. Like I can't remember if Lucas Patrick was starting center in that game or who was, and obviously they blitzed, and I think guys just got beat, but they did a lot of crazy blitzes in that game.
Yeah.
And anybody who watches that film is going to do that again against the Packers this year. Now we don't have, Royce out there and some other goofballs, Billy Turner and guys that
Royce,
stink. Yeah, we're not going to have that crap out there. But what I'm saying is that people are going to watch that Chiefs video from 2 years ago, Jordan Love, and they're going to attack Jordan Love. Like it's what's going to happen until we can prove, and the offensive line can prove that they can pick those blitzes up and understand what's happening and where they're coming from. And they're going to have to really work together as a team. And if you're telling me that Josh Myers has not really been doing as many of those play calls on pass protections in this first 2 years, and now he's going to have to do it with Jordan Love in the back behind him, with all these defenses going to be attacking him 5 times worse. Like this is going to be way, way harder for Josh Myers this year. And that's something that is, I'm just saying, everybody be ready. Hopefully that's not as bad as it says. The other thing that's really cool about this though, I can't remember who it was. I think it might've been Peter Bukowski. I'll give him a shout out. He had a stat about Jordan Love, and he got pressured 19 times in that Chiefs game. And usually when PFF grades pressures in a game, there'll be like a handful that are caught that they give to the quarterback, right? Because the quarterback kind of ran into pressure or held the ball too long, or you know what I mean. Like the offensive line did pretty good, like they blocked them for a good amount of time and blah blah blah. Out of those 19 pressures in that Chiefs game, Jordan Love was responsible for 0 of them. According to PFF. Now, I know you don't trust PFF's grades and whatever, but what that means is they gave the pressures to guys like, Billy Turner and what's his face, Royce Newman and all these guys.
Royce.
Because it was coming so fast, like Jordan Love's like, holy crap, and there's nothing he could do, right? He had to just chuck it and get it out of here and throw it away or take the sack or whatever he did. But he didn't take that many sacks that game. He just kind of threw the ball away and as fast as he could. And everything was in rhythm. The other thing is that he talked about, too, was when they watched back that game, Andy Herman talks about it. When you watch back the games, and I kind of want to watch that game again. You watch, even in that game, Jordan Love would go 1, 2, 3, throw the ball. 1, 2, 3, check, throw the ball. And even when guys were in his face, like he didn't freak out and like run into pressure. The pressure got there and he got the ball out of his hand as fast as he could. And those are all promising things, right? And that was 2 years ago. So how can he be better this year? Even better, right? We're hoping he's even better. And we're hoping that he's not running into pressures and all that kind of stuff. And hopefully the offensive line is a little more solid. I mean, with Zach Tom or Yash over there at right tackle, I think that's solid.
Maybe Zach Tom's got to be center. I don't know.
Well, I know they've been working him at center, too. That's the thing. Like, if Josh Myers can't figure it out, we know Zach Tom is smart enough to probably figure it out. Okay? Yeah. But that's also another thing where Zach Tom is going to have to learn. I mean, he already knows every other position. Now he's going to have to learn, tell everybody what to do. So he's not only is he going to know how to play every position, he also has to know how to tell everybody what to do at every position. You might as well just have Zach Tom just clone him and have him play all 5 damn positions. But anyways, that might be the answer, too, right? Like, will the Packers be willing to sit Josh Myers on his ass if he stinks?
Right.
And put Zach Tom in there because he's smart enough to know what the hell to do. I don't know. I'm hoping.
I hope so.
That's the case. They can do it. Right. But those are just things I heard this week, or last week or whatever it was, listening to some different podcasts and stuff. It's a little bit concerning, but it's also kind of good positive information for Jordan Love. The fact that he's getting the ball out of his hands. He wasn't leading into pressure. The pressures all came because the offensive line was bad, which is still bad. But Jonathan says you can't find fear in Jordan Love's eyes. You're right. Jordan Love stares down the pressure, right? The pressure comes, he still stays tall in the pocket. Now, that can also lead to injuries.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to learn when to move it. Like, that's one thing about Joe Burrow, who's really, when you watch Joe Burrow film, it's like he's got eyes in the back of his head and the side of his head. He just knows how to just kind of slightly move, and kind of like Tom Brady used to do, right? When he was younger. He just knew how to move like 2 inches over to the left and just let the guy run past him, or, stuff like that, which we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers do for years. Aaron Rodgers just gets sacked. He just sits back there and gets sacked. That's what he does. So hopefully we have a little bit different stuff going on here with this year, but those are all things, little key things I think it's kind of cool to check out.
Well, since you brought up Aaron Rodgers. Did you see this today? Keyshawn Nixon's comment. Did you see it? So there's Keyshawn. He's the man. The dude's like covered in tats. It's pretty wild. But anyway, the Jets posted a picture of Rodgers today because they started training camp a little earlier because they got to play in the Hall of Fame game and all that stuff. And Keyshawn K9 puts Jordan on the Wizards and then with a cry laughing emoji face.
NBA memes explained this in NBA memes, and he said Jordan Love, or Jordan. Well, Rodgers thinks he's Jordan. We all know that. He thinks he can one-on-one, which is you can't do in football. It's a team sport, not a one-on-one game.
But see, Michael Jordan was his
I know. He's
career ended pretty sad on the Wizards, and he was old.
He got 20 points, and he got like 14 of them from the free throw line because he couldn't hit anything, and he got fake falls. Yeah, I know. I watched. I hate Jordan. We all know that.
So anyway, Keyshawn just threw that out there, and that's him.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
He might have meant it in just a way like, you saw him on this one team for so long, and now you're seeing him on this team at the end of his career. Maybe he just meant it like that, or maybe he did mean it as a jab, like he's just old and not going to be very good. I don't know, but
I think Keyshawn Nixon is an aggressive player who works his ass off, who's been in the league for a bunch of years. When he finally got a chance, he produced on a team where he was only there for 1 year, and he saw the turmoil and the lack of team chemistry on that team last year, which led to a disappointing season, and has no loyalty to Aaron Rodgers in any way whatsoever. Because the 1 year that he was there, they did not produce in what was expected as a team. And I think that's why he said what he said, because he's not a Rodgers guy. So he speaks the truth. Kind of like when Romeo Dobbs says, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, I don't see the difference. Because he was there 1 year. So he doesn't see the difference between Aaron Rodgers from last year and Jordan Love this year, because Aaron Rodgers was not Aaron Rodgers of 2015 or Aaron Rodgers of 2011 when he was amazing. He was Aaron Rodgers of 2022 where he was an old fart. So that's why Romeo Doubs and Keyshawn Nixon are saying and putting Twitter memes of Jordan with the Wizards, because they're not Rodgers guys. They had 1 year with them. Obviously, there was some tension between Rodgers and the front office. I think Rodgers had his guys, which we all know he did.
Mm-hmm.
Romeo Doubs said, it would have been great if he would have talked to me. Maybe I would have learned some more stuff, but he never actually. I learned a lot from him not even talking to me, right? Okay. Keyshawn Nixon. And Rodgers has said good things about Keyshawn Nixon, right? He said it's exciting to have him there. It's great. He did say positive things about him.
When people asked him, yeah.
Right. But what I'm saying is that, you're just seeing two guys who don't have the Aaron, it's not like Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones would never say something like that, right?
Right.
Never.
Right.
But Keyshawn Nixon, who's a little more of an aggressive guy, had to fight his way and didn't, he's got no loyalty to Aaron Rodgers. So he's just calling it like it is. He's calling it like it is. And it's the truth. So, yeah. Straight on.
That's fair.
Straight on, Keyshawn Nixon. I agree.
All right. Well, anyway, pretty good. We were pretty positive, I got to say, for the most part. And look for it's not going to exclusively go to that. We'll still do Packer Outright Opinion shows, but once in a while we're going to have some Packers positive shows, or Packer positives, or is it Packers positives? Why don't
we could just be positive most of the time? I don't have a problem being positive. I like being positive.
Mm-hmm. What if somebody sets you off with something? What if zero?
I'll go off because if they say dumb crap, like Josiah DeGuara,
what if Jay goes on there and says
best player on the team, and Rasul Douglas is 14, and there's 2 rookies above him on your list, and I just showed you freaking Rasul Douglas made 3 plays in the first quarter of the second Vikings game that led to the Packers stopping them and then getting 7 points. Rasul Douglas is the top freaking 5 player on this Packers team, period. He's the top 5. Matter of fact, he's probably number 2. Aaron Jones is number 1. Rasul Douglas is number 2. Anybody with half a brain can see that. And now I have no hair, so it's mostly brain. So I definitely see it.
What if Jago comes in here and says that our last video was like watching paint dry, and gives us he just the wavelength when I broke out and just did the pack wavelength. He's like, this was like watching paint dry. Effort C-, theme D, props D-, execution F+. And then he goes on.
At least we got an F+.
Then he goes on to tell us we got to spice up our background, and criticizes my cubby and my paint on my walls and some other stuff. Doesn't like my red microphone windscreens, which, by the way, just Jago, just not that you ever listen or watch any of our shows, you just throw comments at us, is that apparently this one a little bit you watch, these were because I live in Wisconsin and the Badgers are red. I could have got boring black ones, but I got red ones because that's why. But anyway, what if that happens? Then you might go off. Zero comes in here. All right, well, fair enough.
I don't care.
All right, well, all right.
Jabo is a Vikings fan with, it's not his fault.
He's never won a Super Bowl, I know.
Yeah, they don't know what it's like to have a winning team. It's not, a good team. They don't know. It's not his fault. He doesn't know what he's even probably looking at. Listen, that wavelength show was not set. That was not for a Vikings fan.
That's true. It's for Packer fans.
That wavelength show was for Packer fans. History of Packers. There you go. It was just a fun little dumb thing we did because it's the off season when there's nothing going on. That's right. So you got to do stuff. I think it was fun. Heck, Mo liked it, and he's a Viking fan.
He wanted to play the game then.
Yeah, he was excited. He thought it was a fun game. Right. He probably wishes there was a Viking wavelength, but the Viking pot. There's only 2 Viking YouTubers, unlike the 7,000 Packer YouTubers. You know why? Because Vikings are lame and nobody cares. The Packers, there's a million freaking Packer YouTube shows because everybody loves the Packers.
I thought about if the Vikings had to do that, what kind of players would they have come up with? It would have been hard to come up with some of the.
They'd have the same answer. The same answer for unreliable would be Zadarius Smith.
Did you see his thing this week? Sorry, did you see his thing this week about how they had to get it and it was like a short on social media where he and Myles Garrett were lined up next to each other on the dummy on the drill on the sled? Did you see it? You didn't see it?
No.
All right. I only saw it because it was a short. And here's Zadarius Smith, and he's like Myles Garrett, and he's like in the caption, they're like 2-time Pro Bowler against whatever time Pro Bowler Myles Garrett in this drill, blah blah blah. And they're lined up, and they're supposed to hit the sled. It's like a 2-man sled. And Myles Garrett is lined up, and then Zadarius, like right before they're gonna do the snap, Zadarius is like, "Wait, back up, you're too close." And Myles Garrett's like, "What are you talking about? What?" And then he gets down late, like in his stance, just a touch late after Zadarius, and then they do the snap, and then Zadarius beats him to it, and he's like, "You see that? You get that on camera? You see that? You see that?" And then they do it again, and then Myles Garrett is just like, "What is this guy? Who is this guy? Like whatever." And then and then they do it again, and Zadarius is quicker to it than him, and then he was quicker to it a third time than him, and Zadarius is like, "You get all that? You get all that on camera?" So in shorts, same old stuff. Right? With a new team, he's a charismatic guy in shorts and a t-shirt or shorts and a helmet. He looks great. But when we just asked all the Viking fans and any of the Packer fans, when it comes down to it, where's he going to be? If he gets that 1 sack early, forget it. He's going to disappear the rest of the game, Cleveland Browns. So don't fall for any of the, oh, wow, he was quicker to the 2-man sled than Myles Garrett. He's going to be a rock star. No, he's still Zadarius.
He's quick to the sled and has no idea where the ball is. Doesn't matter. I don't care how quick you are to the sled if you have no awareness. The guy's got negative awareness. If he was in Madden, if there was a negative score, he could get them negative. At least a 0. 0 in awareness for any Zadarius Smith. If I created Zadarius, I wish I could. Oh my God, I would love to redo the Madden ratings.
And the other striking thing about that, the other thing that should really be alarming to you is each time after those things, he wasn't like saying stuff. Hey, David, he wasn't saying stuff to his teammates. He wasn't saying stuff to Myles Garrett to be like, hey, let's work on this or whatever. He just pointed at the camera. It's like, you get that? You get that? So again, Zadarius is all about like, did I look good in this one thing? And if I did something that makes me look good once, we're good. Because that's if I get a sack, most games, if I get 1 sack, I get the money. We get paid. We're good.
Well, yeah. I can just remember one of the first interviews with him and Preston. And he was saying something, and then he was like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me start that over. And then the guy asked him a question. He's like, here, let me start that over. He knows how it works. He knows they just take a little snippet and put it on TV. Yeah. But this was during COVID times. So it was live on the YouTube channel, right? On the Packer YouTube or whatever, Packer channel. So it had the whole thing. And then because that was one awesome thing about the COVID was they would just have the whole interview live for the most part, right? And you could watch the whole thing. And there was one of the times, right? He was like, he said something and then it was kind of weird. And he was like, nah, let me start that again. And then he was all like, hey, and it's like almost like he's acting. Like he's a pretty good actor.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt. But he knows exactly what he's doing. It's him and me and him and me, or me and me and me. He's like the Aaron Rodgers of defense. It's me, me, and me and me. It's the Rodgers and the Rodgers and the Rodgers. Remember when it was whatever I said. I can't remember what he even said before. What was the thing I changed from the Rodgers and the Rodgers and the Rodgers? People and the people, right? The people is Zadarius and the Zadarius. So anyways, so that's just one of those things where he's gone. I don't really want to talk about him anymore. Like him and Rodgers.
But it was so funny because I think it was Mo sent us a thing out that he was that he got. The Browns picked him up, and the only thing I commented was like in his picture where he's like flexing. It didn't look all that toned, but then he showed Myles Garrett up on the sled. So whatever. So he's gonna have a great season. I'm sure. I'm sure of it.
It'll be fun to.
It'll be great 4 games. So it was like It was his first season with the Packers, was pretty much a great regular season, right? For the one time, for his standards.
I think if we go back and watch the tape, we'll see a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah. Then his first season with the Vikings was kind of like a good half a season, and now for the Browns it'd be like a good first maybe like 4 games, and then he'll shut it down. I don't know. That's just my thought. That's what I think will happen.
I don't know. All I know is I don't want to talk about it anymore. So
all right, fine. I just thought it was
moving forward. We're talking Packers and this team, and I'm excited for all the guys we mentioned today already.
Packer positives.
also the young rookies and everything else that's going to happen and all the changes. And it could suck and it could be awesome, but it's something new. And let's face it, I'm kind of sick of getting, good enough to make the playoffs and then losing every year in the playoffs.
That's right.
So this will be exciting. There's no expectations.
Let's be aggressive on defense.
Yeah.
Let's go for the big shots sometimes. Let's run the ball when we should. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. It's going to be awesome. Maybe we'll win some more games. Maybe we won't win as many games. Who the hell knows? But it's going to be a lot more fun to watch than what it's been like. So, yeah, I'm excited for all that, too. All right, Matt LaFleur. Learn how to do better in-game adjustments. Work on that, buddy. All right. Hey, everybody, we got to run. We've been on for quite some time. Sorry, some of you guys just jumping in here. Be good, stay good, take care of yourselves. No show tomorrow night. I'll be on the road.
I'll be on the road, too.
Traveling west. Ben's, you're traveling east? All right.
Yep. Going back to Beaver Dam land.
Beaver Dam. I'm going west. I'm going past Minnesota. So there you go.
Oh, I didn't know there was something past Minnesota.
There's not much, but there's something over there. All right, you guys take care of yourself. Have a great weekend. We will catch you next week for more Packers positives, or maybe just the Pooh Show.
Welcome to the Pooh Show. Still